All right, well, hey everybody. This is Andrew here, and we're live, Missionary Monday live. Now, normally, I'd be in my office, I'd have my computer set up, and I'd be throwing a bunch of links. I'm not going to throw any links today. I've just got my phone here, doing this live. I just got back. It's Monday morning. For most of you that are watching this, it's probably 10 at night. Those on the East Coast, those in Central Time, it's probably about 9 at night. I'm just doing this here. Just as I just got home. Here it's 11 o'clock. I just got home from a deacons meeting. After deacons meeting, taking one of not deacons meeting, pastors meeting, and then taking one of my colleague pastors home. And so we just got back from. I just got back from from doing all that. Really good pastors meeting, outstanding. But I just want to get real with you for a little bit. No links. Next week, hopefully, I'll do this a little earlier, a bit more decent of an hour. But I just want to get real with you for a minute and talk to you about some stuff that's going on. First off, of course, in the news, we don't have TV here right now, but I do get the news via Facebook, and so and I understand in the news right now, everyone's all upset about the players that didn't take a knee, or they took the knee rather, and some are upset about what the president said, and some people are like it's all just crazy. And of course, if you follow me on Facebook, you know I posted a few things about it yesterday and today. Then, of course, there was the church shooting, and that, of course, pales in comparison, but that of course, is getting glossed over. So there's all of this stuff going on in the news and stuff, and it's concerning. And you don't like to be a missionary here in Brazil and watch your own country fall apart at the seams from a distance. So, all of those things are important, and I don't want to give the impression that they don't weigh on me, but they don't weigh on me as much as you might think. As far as football goes, I've kind of lost touch with football over the years, and besides that, I'm a Bills fan, and so obviously winning football games not that important to me. Even when I did follow it, and I'm not sure. I don't even remember who it was that played the Patriots, and I know it was the Patriots just because of the whole Deflategate thing and the fact that Tom Brady's married to a Brazilian. So I follow it that, but there's the whole standing and kneeling and for national anthem, and I was raised patriotic, and I'll stand for the national anthem whenever I hear it played. But I got to tell you, and this is where I want to get real with you for a minute. After the deacons meeting tonight, and after doing a lot of reflecting, before and after and during our deacons meeting, when it gets right down to it, I don't give I don't give the west end of a rat going east about who stands or who doesn't stand for the national anthem. Because as Americans, and as American Christians, and as the American church, we've got much bigger fish to fry. We have a lot bigger things to deal with. This was, like I said, I had about an hour drive taking one of my fellow pastors home and then coming back to the house, so I have some time to think about that. So I just want to talk to you and share the reality of what we're facing as I see it. And maybe it will encourage you to pray, and maybe it will encourage you to a little bit of action. I hope so. So I live and I work in the northeast part of Brazil. Northeast part of Brazil encompasses about six or seven states in size. If you start in Florida and go up the west coast of Florida and over to Alabama and all the way up to Tennessee and then over across North Carolina and then back down the coast of Florida, that's about the size of the place where I work. My state, the state of Maranhão, is one of the larger states in that region. Not the largest, but one of the larger states, and it has roughly my state, 6 million people. The city where I live and work, San Luis, actually I live just outside the city, but the city has over 1 million people in it. And so obviously there's quite a lot to be done and quite a lot of work that needs to be accomplished here. I could talk for a while, and I'll mention it briefly in a little bit, but about some of the challenges we're facing. But just let me say, in our northeast region right now of Brazil's a very big country. We've divided up into 3 regions. In our northeast region, Itasiara and I are one couple of that are working in that whole region, and it's broken down something like this. We have 3 couples right now. I'm sorry, no, 4 couples right now working in the Cariri Valley. See if I get my counting right. We have 1 couple that's working in, or 2 couples that's working in the, let's see, am I getting this right? 1, 2, no, we have 3 couples working in the Cariri Valley. We have 2 couples working in the São Francisco Valley, which is about an hour away, 4 hours away from that. In the city of João Pessoa, we have 2 couples working. So if you're doing the math with me, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we're here in the city of San Luis, and that's us. And I think maybe some of my colleagues know, I'm sorry, I did miss a couple. So we're one of 9 couples working. Sorry, one of 9 couples working in this entire region. Now we work with some very outstanding Brazilian colleagues, and so in the Cariri Valley, where our seminary is, and where we have 4 couples working right now, there are about 40 some of our very good churches, and they're doing a great work. In other areas, there are more or less. Actually, in northeast Brazil, I think between the city of Fortaleza, where we currently have no missionaries working, and the city of in the city of the Cariri Valley, those are the 2 main hubs. And we have other missionaries working in other areas, but that leaves huge swaths, even with all of our churches, huge swaths of areas that are among some of the least reached places in the world as far as the gospel is concerned, and we have no missionaries there, and we have no national churches there. Here in San Luis, as far as American missionaries, we're it. And even among other denominations, I've been here since now 2011 in this city. I have yet to meet another American missionary. Now we have 4 churches, and I work with 3 other very just outstanding Brazilian colleagues. I couldn't ask to work with a better group of Brazilian colleagues. And yet, the 4 of us dealing with 4 couples, dealing with actually 3 couples and 1 single missionary, dealing with a city of over 1 million people. I don't want to give you the impression that our churches are the only gospel preaching churches. They're not. But even the gospel preaching churches, you take all of them from other denominations and put the good, solid gospel church preaching churches together, and we're overwhelmed. We're overwhelmed. Challenges we're facing. We're facing here in Brazil what I consider to be 2 massive tidal waves that are simultaneously hitting Brazilian society. Actually, one hit. They've hit about the same time. One is what I call neo-Pentecostalism, differentiated from normal Pentecostalism, which brings its own series of problems. But neo-Pentecostalism is the health and wealth gospel. In the United States, you would think of Joel Osteen and those types of people. In Brazil, I've said in the United States, it's on steroids. It's the prosperity guy. It's Joel Osteen on steroids. The other tidal wave that's coming in is the secularism. It's to such a degree that unlike previous generations of missionaries in Brazil, our main opposition does not come from Roman Catholicism. And in fact, we find ourselves in the awkward position of being on the same side of some cultural battles with our Roman Catholic friends. And our main opposition now is coming from the the secularism that's crawling in. No, it's coming in like a tidal wave, just like it is in the United States. So those are the two, the neo-Pentecostalism within evangelicalism, and then the secularism without, and they're wreaking havoc, both of them. And I could spend a lot more time talking about the situation. I just want you to kind of maybe get an impression of kind of how overwhelming things are. Now, I work with an outstanding mission agency called Baptist Missions out of Cleveland, Ohio. We're very proud to work with this group. This group has an amazing history of missions around the world and a tradition of missions, and they're doing a fantastic job. And here in northeastern Brazil, we have Baptist Missions has been in our field of northeastern Brazil since 1937, and missionaries. I'm proud to serve with all of the missionaries that we have in Baptist Missions. So, if any of you are watching, I get this. It's just an outstanding group of people to work with. And what I want to point out is that since I arrived in 2005 on the field in northeastern Brazil, we have had 2 couples arrive. 2 couples since we arrived. Meanwhile, we have hemorrhaged missionaries. We've lost a ton of missionaries to retirement or leaving for other reasons, or changing venues, changing ministries, so on. Or even passing away. A ton of missionaries. I've lost count, and for me to try to count them all the time. So just believe me when I say just a lot of missionaries. The attrition rate has been astounding. Something I never foresaw when I joined the mission. We have received 2 new missionaries in that period of time. One of those was a transfer from another field. So I'm serving one of 9 couples. In 2 years' time, everything indicates that I will be serving. Itaciara and I will be one of 7 couples here. And in 5 to 10 years' time, it could be 3, 4, 5 couples serving in this entire area. Now you may say, well, it's time for the national church to step up. Well, yeah, it is. And they are, in many cases. But not nearly as much as needed. That's one of the things that was on my mind as I came back from our pastors' meeting today, and that is that there is not enough manpower. And we have been pleading here in São Luís for pastors to come. We have a church in São Luís. Our oldest and most storied church in the city of São Luís is without a pastor, has been without a pastor for 4 years, and we cannot get somebody to come. We are so desperate. Our church has been grooming a young man. We sent him to seminary. We've been preparing for him. Finally, he's come back, and so the idea was he and I were going to form a team, and we were going to finish the Ebenezer church plant and possibly go on to another church plant. Well, the situation is so desperate at the First Baptist Church that it is entirely possible that either he or I, that we'll have to split up our team, and one of us, probably me, will have to go to the other church that is without a pastor and spend a year there getting them back up to speed to the place where maybe they can call a pastor and have enough financial resources to be able to call a pastor to bring a full-time pastor there. Then go back to the Ebenezer church. That's a very distinct possibility because we cannot get anybody. Since I have been on the mission field since 2005, I have hosted almost every year missions teams from the U.S. Almost every year. So 2005 to 2017, that's 12 years. In 12 years, I have seen one person return as a short-termer, spend a good time, not on our field, on another field. That's great. That's one on another station here in Northeast Brazil. That's great. As far as I know, that one person has been the only return. Now, every mission team that comes down, they run an average of 10 people. So that's it. And I have had an average of one per year. So let's take that 12 years, one per year. That's 100 people. Not including single people that have come down to visit, not including other things. 120 people have come down. And one came back for a while, no longer on the field, as kind of a short-term helping thing. I'm not sure what else I can do. I'm constantly posting this on Facebook and so on. And it's not just a Northeast Mission, Northeast Brazil problem. All of our fields here in Brazil are declining. The North field, which includes the Amazon, includes huge cities like Belém, Manaus, huge areas of unreached people. The North region is worse off than we are as far as people go. The South region, which includes São Paulo and Rio de Janeiro, mega cities, also that are growing enormously, is diminishing in terms of missionaries. Folks, this is just Brazil. Now, I would like to say, well, maybe, Brazil is trending out and other nations are trending in and missionaries are going to other places. And that's happened, for a while, tons of missionaries going to Philippines. For a while, Brazil was riding the wave and we were getting a lot of missionaries. So I understand that happens. But, and if that were the case, okay. That's not the case. I think I mentioned in a prayer letter a while ago, if you read our prayer letter, we just got a note from our mission, a letter from Vern Rosenau, the president of our mission. The current candidate class at our mission included one missionary. Well, I believe it was one couple. One couple, and our mission is served. So I'm going to estimate here, to throw out a ballpark figure, at least 2,000 churches in the U.S. At least. That's a ballpark figure as far as the context that our mission has, maybe more. And of all of those groups that are served and represented by our mission agency, one couple joined the mission this year. That's extremely worrisome. And other of our missions agencies, I know, while maybe not so low in classes, are going through the same kind of decline. That, to me, folks, is much more worrisome than who kneels at a football game or who stands at a football game and what the president tweeted or what he didn't tweet, what he said, what he didn't say, because this deals with the very heart of the church, of the American church. And I'm an American and I have lots of opinions, and I'm sure you follow my Facebook, you're quite aware of what my opinions are about these things. One of the reasons I have some of the opinions I have is, and we won't get into those here, but it is because of how they reflect on the church. And I got to tell you, folks, these statistics that I've been throwing at you all night here do not reflect well. Something is wrong. A couple weeks ago, I had the chance to speak to a conference, a retreat for the seminary students that are graduating from our seminary where we used to work. And I mentioned to them, I say, in the course of one of the messages, we love to talk about the pioneers, but nobody wants to be the pioneer. And we see that in Brazil. If that's the case among our people here in Brazil, it is much more the case among my people in the United States. This is what I'm noticing. We love to talk about the pioneers, but no one wants to be the pioneer. And there are fields, like I said, that are even much more needy than our field. And if people were going to those, I'd be all excited, but they're not. I talk to missionaries from all around the world, and the cry is, we need people. And American Christians, the richest Christians in the world, American Christians, the most prosperous Christians in the world, the American Christians who have the most access to spiritual resources, and I'm talking books, podcasts, messages, articles, blogs, theological education of every type. We who have the most access to all of this kind of stuff our passion for missions, our passion for the gospel is diminishing. Now that's worrisome. Who stands at a football game? Not so much. Not big on my radar. The fact that my people, growing up in the churches that I grew up in, the kind of churches that I grew up in, are no longer passionate about missions and about spreading the gospel is a DEFCON 5 emergency situation that needs to be addressed. So this is me addressing it. I'm very limited as to what I can do here. I can talk here from Brazil. I can shout out in my little video that you watch on Facebook. But somehow, it has got to be addressed in churches. It has got to be addressed in associations. It has got to be addressed in colleges, in schools. I know in the U.S. you feel like, and it's not just a feeling, it's true. The circle, the fence is closing in, the circle is closing in, and the secularism is taking over, and freedoms and rights you once had, you don't have so much anymore. I understand this. I understand this dynamic. But I ask you this question. The freedoms that we still have, and we still have quite a bit, we're not anywhere close to what some of our brothers and sisters in Christ suffer all around the world. The freedoms that we have, what exactly are we doing with them? I mean, what exactly are we doing with them? And if we're not doing anything with them, is it any surprise that God is possibly, I don't know the mind of God, possibly saying, well, if you're not going to do anything with those freedoms, then there's no real sense in you having. Those are my thoughts. Hope it wasn't too much of a downer. Next week I'll be back with there's lots of interesting things going on here. I'll be back with some links. Not exactly sure what time. I try to get these earlier, but like I said, today was just a very hectic day. Deacons meeting that went till week, so I got back, but I just wanted to share this. Thoughts that are on my mind as we talked at our deacons meeting about what's going to be going on. Let's try to foresee the future. Heavy on my mind, this would appreciate your comments, questions. Always appreciate your comments and questions, and I'll be very happy to send to answer them, maybe the next meeting, or to respond to you personally. If you're interested in learning more about ministry here in Brazil, the invitation is open. Welcome mats out. Come down, spend some time with us. We'll show you what it's all about. Maybe God will set fire to your soul, and you'll be interested in coming back down here to help us. Till next time, this is Andrew with today's missionary moment, and looking forward to hearing from you next week and talking to you next week, and figure out how to turn this thing off. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good one.